This week's episode of The Voice Party is brought to you by Big Boy Raps. Get your car wrapped by some of the most experienced and skilled in the Bay. Big Boy Raps, where the big boys play.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to The Voice Party. This is JD, and we're about to start this episode off with a very special piece by my good friend, Donte Clark.
Life sings me sweet songs. I would love to dance, but I'm afraid of my feet. Being born black, bearing blues by brothers buried beneath bridges. Burned bodies belittled before becoming better. Beyond broken, but believing. Because brotherhood build beautiful bonds, bypassing bullies, brute, Billy Bats, beating blacks, backbone breaking, burdened by balancing books, bullets, bricks, bearing blocks, blown by bombs, billowing blues, Billy Blue before, back bust boy, cotton brung benefits be barely breathing, between blitz, brought by Babylonians, Baphomets, biopics be blackberries bent below bulky branches, bruh, life, sings me sweet songs. I would love to dance, but I'm afraid of my feet. Nah, life is a sweet song, so each move's a dance to loose the bands from my feet. Don.
That was great. I like that you went with nothing but bees for a minute there. I caught that. That was it. Like I was like, oh shoot, I don't know how I caught it, but you could have missed it.
That was amazing alliteration. It's crazy. I'm often explaining what alliteration is to students, and I know for a lot of them it's kind of foreign because they
explain it to the listeners.
Oh, no, definitely. So alliteration in poetry, or really in any form of literature, is when you take a bunch of words strung together in a sentence or a phrase and they have the same beginning sound or letter. Stan Lee used to do this all the time. He'd be like, the Merry Marvel Marching Society, right? Or in the comic book, my favorite examples, superhero names, Bruce Banner, Reed Richards, Peter Parker, and then the lovely piece that Donte Clark just laid down for us.
Right on. Thank you for doing that here.
For sure.
I always appreciate when someone does their thing on the, here with us. You got a lot of stuff going on, man, and every time I look and see what you're up to, it's like something new and different from what you were just doing, and it's like, do you ever take a break?
Man, I kind of feel like I break all the time.
Yeah.
But then it be kind of like in the midst of doing a lot too.
Yeah.
That kind of like is a contradiction.
Yeah.
I say like when I'm doing something, it seems like I'm working all the time, but I'm not really. It's just when I'm into that thing,
you're in doing
it's
it,
like boom, and it's just totally different from when the last time someone saw me publicly.
Yeah,
it's like,
I see.
Oh man, you just put out a book, and then it's like, oh, I just saw that you got a commercial coming out for this thing, and it's like, well, I did that, 6, 7, 8 months ago.
Oh yeah,
you're just now seeing it.
You're just now seeing it.
And in that downtime, I started working on this book that just so happened to come out first. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it'd be like, to the public eye, it seemed like, man, is it? But it do have them pockets, you know what I mean? Yeah. When it's like certain,
they kind of intertwine with each other.
When it seemed like it's just, I am just back to back different requests, because I rarely say no. So that's mostly my fault. It'd be like, you know what I mean?
Hey, but we appreciate that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Like everyone you say yes to, we appreciate it.
Exactly. For real. Man. Because, like we talked about this last time, I thought like at one point you're gonna be taken off to Hollywood, and which I'm sure that's come up a lot. People want, hey, when get him on your, try to do something with him, because I'm sure you're gonna be doing, big movies soon in Hollywood, and we won't see you again. But I know you said before that that's not the case with you.
Nah.
And I mean, I'm sure you will be doing that, but you also kind of have this home field advantage that you definitely like. I don't know how to explain it, but
you're loyal to the soil.
Exactly. Yeah, and we appreciate it. And it's an inspiration to see that, like as a creator, like look, that's a good example that you set for a lot of the creatives in the area. And it's important, man. Like, we're watching,
That's right.
Man.
Yeah. That's beautiful in itself, because oftentimes, as a creator, you can be in your own world trying to do your own thing, and you don't realize that it's people watching your process.
Yeah.
You thinking that they're waiting for the product, but they're really just like, I want to see the process. I want to see where he go, what he do, or what happened, what made that thing. And then when the thing happens, and then it's like, now I want to see, okay, I watched him. He did the thing that he said he was going to do. And then how do we respond afterwards? Because now we see that as big, but I wanted to see if this person sees that what they just did was big. And do their head get big? And then it's like, for me, I go back into the creative process. And it's like, oh, I didn't even know that you was watching.
I think that's true with like all creators, no matter what industry or what lane you're in, where people are looking at the process and looking at like what happens in between A and B, especially with writers, people who are crafting songs and poems, because they come from a personal place, like
very deep inside.
Like I think the difference between, like, we'll say, like an average actor and a rapper, for example, in the way that people get into their personal lives. You know what I mean? People are into the actor's personal life because he's famous, but people get into, like, let's say Kanye West, because his personal life, because those creative outbursts, those songs come from, like, it's like, okay, what fed this song? Oh, the divorce fed this song. You know what I mean? And we know that he's going to come out with something after the Kim Kardashian divorce that's going to be inspired by this, and it's probably going to be fire. Because the last time he had a heartbreak, it was 808s and Heartbreak, and it kind of changed the industry a little bit. You know what I mean? So there's a kind of investment, because people have an understanding that your artwork reflects you to a degree. Your outlook, whether it's your outlook on life, your outlook on the world, or whether it's what you're personally going through. So it's like the in-between feeds into that final product. So of course they're going to be interested in the process.
And I think I want to start showing more of my process, because I don't feel like people really understand or appreciate or know what my process is. It's just like, I've seen you do this thing, and then I look up, you did another thing, but no one really.
It just looks like you're doing the projects, and no one knows what it's like in between.
Yeah.
It's like we had a guy here earlier sitting in. He listens to the show, and since day one, and he sat and he saw how much little stuff we go through in between. And if I'm sure for you, like, this is your second book just came out.
Right.
The time that you're writing it, like, I'm sure you try to avoid distractions, whatever that means, with family, and that's one of those things people don't think of, because you kind of have to go in your bubble, I'm sure, to be creative sometimes, and to finesse, like those guys that make the sword, just hammer away the the blade until it's the final product.
You gotta find peace within the chaos, because as a creator, it's like, part of me, I have to separate myself so I can just be in the zone. But another part is like, you gotta be strong enough to go within the chaos, because that's where a lot of the material is.
In the chaos.
It's in the chaos. It's around.
Grab it.
It's around the drunk uncle or auntie cussing somebody out.
Yeah.
And you sitting there watching, like, dang, boom.
Yeah.
All of those thoughts, I'm finna just write this down. Now I don't have to think so much to what should I write about. I'm finna just describe what this situation is.
What it feels like.
Boom. Because I'm feel it in the moment.
Yeah.
When I separate myself, I have to now think back. I have to now go into a meditative, what part of my life do I want to share? Now I have to dig through a lot of stuff and try to remember and pull. But when you are in the chaos, it's like, boom, this brought up the past.
Yeah.
Cause it's this thing you just did that just reminded me of when I was 7 years old. So I gotta capture this moment and back then, and it's fresh right now. So the emotions is like, so it's like, it's kind of like both. You gotta take time to be around family, to find those beautiful moments that make you smile and just be like, oh, while they was arguing, I noticed a butterfly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta just find those moments to, boom, and then you gotta know when to separate yourself to then it's like, all right, I gotta really focus. And that's what this book would really feel like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or any of my writing processes, like, gotta be around it, but then I gotta separate to just, like you said, sharpen this up to, you feel me, be able to deliver it.
Because there's a way you want it to be. It's gonna be on there forever. You can't take it back and rewrite it. Like, nope. That's gotta be like we talked about with film, you know, with Amir. Like, it's gotta be. Sometimes you wish you. I don't know if you feel that where you kind of want to go back and I want to rewrite this, but it's already there.
Yeah.
Does that ever mess with you after you put out something like or
Every time.
every time?
Every time I've written something or performed something, I look back and be like, I don't like that. I always find some area that makes me cringe and be like, all right, how could I be mindful of that moving forward, not to do that, or if that's just a quirk about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, all right, that's just you. You just goofy like that. So you just gotta figure out a way to embrace it and not, you know what I mean? Cringe at it. That may be the thing about you that you may feel uncomfortable with, but everyone else is attracted to that.
Yep.
And they think that you are comfortable with that. And it's like, no, I hate that I did that. But that probably was the thing that made the performance or the way that I speak to someone be like, man, it's something, you know what I mean? It's that thing that you are critiquing yourself about that other people are like,
See, it's a masterpiece.
and so that, but it takes you putting yourself out there to realize that that's what it is. You can redo it in another, like, that just marks your progress right there. You got to set those marks and then be like, all right, this is where I was at. Where would I be in 6 months from now if I keep trying?
And you just got to keep working at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, go ahead.
Well, you know, out of curiosity, for young writers at home and for students who may be either struggling with or just now realizing they have a gift with the pen and the pencil, how many drafts would you say you do, like, per poem? Do you just do you find yourself writing perfection first time out, or do you go back over it and be like, all right, let me tighten this up, let me change this out, you know?
It depends on what I'm writing for. If I'm writing for, like, an event, I'm writing for perfection. If it's like, hey, can you perform at this thing? Oh, I'm trying to nail this, because I look at it like, this is going to be the thing that can put me in a particular position. You know what I mean? Whether that's like solidifying myself as a writer, solidifying myself as a performer. It may be somebody in the audience who've never heard of you. They don't know all of the great things you may have done.
Yeah.
This is going to be what they see you as. So it's like in them type of situations, like, oh, I'm trying to write something I ain't never said before, or in a way that I ain't never heard it said. When I'm writing for like a book, I'm a little bit more lax. It's like, all right, you know, if I want to do 300 pages, every single poem don't have to be the grand masterpiece. It's a collection. So how can I write something that covers different perspectives or emotions that feed into the collective? But as a, like, you know, on the stage, you got 3 minutes. So I'm trying to make every single word, every line hit. But in a book, it's like, boom, there's 5 lines. How can I, you know, say something slick real quick in 5 lines? Then another one is like, all right, how can I do an alliteration piece with just all B's? I'm challenging myself like that. Like, all right, this don't have to be perfect. I've never heard a poem with just straight, every word begins with one letter, no in-between words. It's just straight B. I've never heard that. Yeah. It's probably been done, but I'm saying for me, if it has been done, I want to be another one of those names. It's like only 13 people ever did it. Donte is one of them, and I like Donte's version, number 5 out of it. You know what I mean? It's like that's how I challenge myself for that perfection.
I see that in the what was it called, stanzas?
Yeah.
Your style of poetry, I would call it like the jazz of communication, of verbal communication. Because there's some stuff that you'd write that I've never really seen before, like you said, you know, and yeah, I just, you know, I don't know, like you just said, like that you don't see some of those, like just be, yeah, stuff like, I mean, maybe I haven't gotten into poetry as much, but to me that's just like, you know how jazz, like a lot of people don't understand it, like I've never heard this before. That's how I feel with your poetry.
Most def. I mean, the only thing I could really akin it to, and it's not a poem, it's a rap song by Papoose. Probably his most famous one, his breakout record, was Alphabetical Slaughter, where he just takes a letter and then like he goes from A all the way to Z, and I think it was like a 2-part record. So part 1, it makes it to midway to the alphabet, like to number 13, and then the other half, and he's like aardvark, avalanche, and acid, and it's just all rhyming A words, and then it's like, and then you got DJ K Slay shouting letters at him. Now do B, and then he goes brainstorming, banner and banish and you know you know. But that's like the closest thing I've ever heard in like, you know, rhyme form compared to that. Yeah, it's pretty ill.
And I wanted to, like, all right, anybody could just throw a bunch of like words that sound or had the same letter. I'm like, I want mine to be all B's and tell a story, so you won't even catch it until like the 3rd line. Being born black, bearing blues by brothers buried beneath bridges, burning bodies belittled before becoming better, beyond broken but believing, because brotherhood build beautiful bonds, bypassing bullies, brute Billy bats, beating blacks, backbone breaking, burdened by balancing books, bullets, bricks, bearing blocks, blown by bombs, billowing blues, Billy blue before a buck, bus boycotting brunk benefits, be barely breathing. It's a story.
Oh yeah, no, I heard it.
It's like a complete thought. So I'm like anybody could just write a bunch of.
Right.
I want to say it in a way to where it can be said in a conversation to where a person be like, "Hold on, what?
Did he just use all B's?" Yeah.
You told a dope story,
but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Using all B's.
How long does that take to construct? For you, like an example, like that, like how long does that take?
That took me probably like the beginning part. Like 2 minutes.
Dang.
Not even that. It was like a thought.
Yeah.
I performed at this event in San Francisco, and you know they have photographers take pictures and they send it to you afterwards. And it was a sea of people, all white people mostly, and then it was me performing in the midst. I was walking through the crowd, and I was looking at this shot of me with my hair flowing, hair wrapped, with all of these people, and I'm like, dang. So as I'm finna post this picture on Instagram, I'm thinking of a caption. Sometimes I try to say a quote or, you know, write a poem real quick. I was challenging myself, like, make your caption a poem or a slick word or line or something. So I was just like, man, being born black, bearing blues by brothers buried. That was the caption. And I was like, that sound crazy. So I typed it, boom, being born black, bearing blues by brothers buried. That was the caption. Then I was like, I want to see if I can turn this into a poem. And then it turns into like a strategic, how can you continue this but keep it a story? So now I'm trying to think of what it is you want to say. So it probably take, to write that full piece, I wrote half of it for the first book, No Freedom. Being born black, bearing blues by brothers buried beneath bridges, burning bodies belittled before becoming better, beyond broken but believing. That was the first. Boom. After I published it, I was like, nah, I want to go longer. That ain't enough. So then I wrote longer, and then I put it in my second book. You know what I mean? Damn. I went from there. So then that process is like anywhere from a single thought, go with it, to 2 hours, add 8 more words, and then a few months later to be like, nah, I want to add a whole nother 16 more words. You feel me? So it just depends on how perfect or what you aiming for. If I wanted to, can go back and find some more thoughts and words and B's and go on to it. But then instead, if you read the book, I went on to another alphabet. Like, nah, I want to see if I can do a T poem. I want to see if I can do a P poem.
You got a C poem in there too.
I got a C poem in there. I actually wrote a D poem, and I had another one, but I didn't finish it. I had an A one too.
Next book.
It was like, all African Americans ain't African. And then that's how I start. It's like a thought that comes to my head, like, all African Americans ain't African.
That's true.
And all Americans ain't Aborigine. And then that's how I start. It's like a thought that comes to my head, like, all African Americans ain't African. That's true. And all Americans ain't Aborigine. And all Americans ain't Aborigine. And all Americans ain't African. That's true. And then I was like, ooh, let me see how, and I wrote that, but I didn't like it as much. You feel me? It was like, nah, I may use it, I may not, but you feel me? Just
You have the thought there that you can sit on and go back to.
boom, the thought come like all African Americans ain't African. Then it's like, ooh, what? That's gonna make people what? And all Americans ain't Aborigine. What? Then boom, 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 boom. And then my idea was like, do that one, then go into the all African Americans ain't African, all Americans ain't Aborigine, da 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 da. Being born black, bearing blues by brother, you know what I mean? Then go into like, then the C poem, and then the D, and then it's like, hold up, how many, you know what I mean? Just challenging myself to tell a story using the alphabet that ain't just random B's and A's and C's. It's like, I'm talking to you.
Well, you just kind of broke down right now. I'm glad, because we kind of just saw how you started off with the A's, and then you went to the B's, and then, you know, that kind of like structure building for your, when people read the book, or hopefully when they listen to this, like you get like deep into the brain of the guy who's writing this. And I'm curious when I watch a film, like, man, what made them think of this? You know? And that's one of those things that, like, I think that's like my goal whenever I'm interviewing another creator. Like, how did you come up with this? You know, what brought these stories? Like, what inspired you to write this story? And I know you mentioned some stuff about like the family, but like, the last time we talked, you mentioned you had been reading novels. I think you mentioned one of the novels. Did that have a big part as far as inspiration to this, or did you had already finished the book?
Which book did I mention? Do you remember?
Eyes Were Watching God, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Classic.
Man, that book.
There's a movie on that, right?
Yes,
I saw the
Halle
movie
Berry.
first.
With Halle Berry.
Yeah, I saw the movie first, probably like 2014 or something.
This is Zora Neale Hurston's book, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I saw the movie, and it's like, you know, Halle Berry, and I'm watching it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, it's a beautiful love story, very poetic, very Southern, and I'm like, it's dope. Didn't realize it was a book. Then like, what was that? Last December, not this past one, but the year before, 2019. I'm up in Michigan, and a friend of mine, she was like, I think you should read this book. It was a bunch of writers, women writers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, which one should I read? Should I read this? She said, I think you should read all of them, but I think you should go with The Eyes Are Watching God. I think you'll really love that. And I'm like, for sure. I get it. I started reading it. First page, I'm like, whew, just the language.
Yeah.
It's like the first line of the book just was like, there are men's dreams live on ships or something like that, she said. And I was just like, what? It was like, I had to read that line like 5 times. Like, then she builds, and then from there it's like, it's part dialogue, and then the narration is so beautiful, so poetic. I'm like, that type of stuff inspired me to just try to play with language. You feel me? Then
Like you are with the poems like this.
Yeah. And it's like, I do want to write a novel, but it's like, I want to play more with my poetry. So when I go in to tell real stories, I can talk about it in a way that it ain't just, and he sat down and then he stood up. I want to be like, you feel me? The tree walked into the house and lost all of his leaves onto the carpet.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. That's how you do it.
Like, man. Describing this big man just coming, he lost all of his leaves onto the carpet. I've seen him wither over the years. His branches don't stand as firm as they used to. Meaning, like, you know what I mean? Whatever I wanted to, you feel me?
Incredible metaphor.
You feel me? I want to, that's how I want to tell a story about my family or Richmond, or I want to talk about it in a way that make you see the ugly truth in such beautiful language. That's like, and that's always been what inspired me. It's like, how can, you know, we went through so much ugliness, but we have some beautiful thinkers and writers that's able to talk about it in such language that's like, this is a love story. And it was like really a tragedy.
Yeah.
Feel me?
Like
She was
that.
going through a lot. She done lost all. She was abused.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She done lost 3 lovers, 2, 3. What was that? 2?
3 lovers?
Yeah, 3 lovers or something like that. Yeah, she was married to one, didn't want to be with him. He was kind of abusive. 40 years older than her. Then she went with another person, did it, and she got with some man. She went. That was a tragedy, but it was a beautiful story.
Yeah, it was.
And a lot of that, like, you know, for my example, like, comedy comes from tragedy. You know, like a lot of funny things that I can share with that I've turned into jokes come from dark stuff, and that's like the best thing you can do with. It's just like turning whatever life hands over to you into, you know, something beautiful, and it just kind of makes living fun, like more fun, you know, like you know, or just you can. Especially when we were talking about this the other day when I met up with you 2 days ago. Aside from what it is for us to create, what it also is to people, you know, like for some, this is what's keeping them from, you know, sometimes hearing your poetry. If you listen to the Voice Party for laughs, you know, like what it does to the people, like I think sometimes adds to me creating it. Like I'm thinking about this more because I've heard this person, you know, it brightens their day.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard a lot of stuff like that where you think about it afterwards, like, man, you know, that it makes it a little bit more like the healing aspect of it for others. And I think that's like something that I didn't care about that before, because, you know, I was like, I'm just doing this, but I do appreciate that I can use this for that. And I'm sure you've had like similar experiences, or I don't know if you have, you know, where you can talk about like that.
Oh yeah, you feel me? When you going through something and it's like, I'm just finna write it 'cause I gotta get this out. And then for me, I was like, wow, I'm actually feeling better, 'cause whatever was in my mind was just back there. Now that I wrote it, I done put it out, I done shared it. Now everybody know, and it's like, okay, I'm past it now. But then for somebody else, it's like, now they having their breakthrough because of what you just did. Now it's like, wow, you touched on something that brought up something for me, and now I feel activated and want to participate in my healing process. Because at first I was just thinking this was regular. But you just described it in words that's like, nah, this ain't regular. We ain't supposed to be going through this, and there's ways to get out of this. And you going through it, me watching your, now I'm activated, and I want to, so it's like, wow, that's always encouraging to keep going through it. Because sometimes like, I'm tired of this. And then you get a phone call or email or a text, like, man, keep doing what you're doing. I know you don't know me, but I've been watching you. You feel me? I've been watching. I done got them the type of ones that get me. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm ready to get up and get going. I want to do something now because somebody just notified me and said, "This, we watching you."
Encouragement.
I'm proud of you, or keep going. You know what I'm saying? And be like, all right.
Yeah, it really like this is from my opinion, like when it touches someone, like there's that little voice in people when they're ready to give up that tells them keep going, you know. And the stuff you can do, like we did this episode, which after we did it, I thought about telling Phil, like, hey man, maybe we should edit some, because when you put personal stuff out there, you kind of like cringe about it. Do you feel like that when you write something really personal about deep inside of your head? Like, I don't know, oh, I put that out there, like, oof. Because that's how I felt when I recorded that episode. I shared some stuff about my issues with anxiety. And I'll be honest, like sometimes it hits me hard. Like right now, I'm anxious, like a lot. I'm super anxious right now. And I didn't want to say anything. Like, I'm over here taking deep breaths. I don't know if you guys noticed, but like,
Yeah, I noticed.
yeah. And
I thought it's because you went for a run earlier.
But when I shared that and I thought about like, man, I kind of don't want people to hear this, you know, some of the stuff I said. And then I heard people reaching out like, yeah, I go through this too. And like, you know, it was kind of great hearing that. And I had people reach out to me about it. And I thought like, I feel like sometimes putting that stuff out there, as scary as it is for you as a creator or the person that puts it out there, you are kind of speaking to those people's, like, you know, that thought that's like, keep going, you know?
Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely right.
Yeah, I had a few of those creative moments of, is this too much? Should I say this? Dang, what people gonna think when I say this? And over the years, I've inched towards it a little bit more and more. And I feel like the last two creations that I've done, I've been more open. It's a program, not a program. It's a platform called Gold Beams, and it's based in the Bay Area, Oakland. Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah.
And that performance, I still haven't watched it.
Really?
Yeah, because it was personal.
Yeah.
It was like I wasn't gonna even do it. It was it's a performance.
Was that rehearsed?
Nuh-uh. Damn. It was like 20 minutes. It's like you got 15 to 20 minutes to do your thing. So I picked three songs that I wanted to do. Yeah. And it was just like, tell us the process, tell us the story of it so your audience could connect to it. So I'm like, all right, for sure. I picked those 3 songs and I was heckin' nervous. So I'm like, man, I don't want to rehearse a story, but I know me, if I don't think about it, whatever comes out is gonna be the truth, because it'd be hard for me to lie, bro. So it'd be like,
and if you rehearse it, you can hide stuff.
Yeah, and so I
don't want to say this. Never mind.
Yeah, and I said it.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what I said, but I just sent when they said it was live. I just start sending it to everybody. I didn't even watch it.
Yeah.
You feel me? So when people like, man, what you said or what you did, man, it's like, I know what my songs are about, but I don't know what I said in between necessarily. So I'm like, man, I ain't watched it. You feel me? But I hope whatever it is that I said, you feel me?
It hit people. It got shared a lot, and I saw that people were saying about it. And just like the feedback I got, like everyone that gave me feedback, like, oh, that was heavy, but I kind of go through that too. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, well, that's it's kind of good. It's not good to know, but it helps you as a person that's saying it, and I had this one of my favorite musicians. He had this thing where he would do live shows. He would kind of create a song on the fly as one of his last songs, and where he did a lot of poetry also, but he said after he came home after doing the concert, and in one of those songs that he improvised, he would think, oh my God, I can't believe I shared that. And I'm sure you have stuff like that. Like, that's a perfect example of what you just said. Like, you just, and it is true. If you start rehearsing it and maybe, write a script, prepare like a script, you definitely, once you let it sit there, this is coming out. This is coming out.
No, man.
You gonna abandon, you gonna abort shit, abort mission. Soon as boom, it's time to go, you're gonna be like, oh, scratch that. Cause now it's like you focusing on trying to remember exactly what you said, how you said it, instead of like the thought of like, all right, I'm gonna share a story about my nephew, or I'm gonna share a story about, you know what I mean, where this song come from. Why do you feel so comfortable talking about this? Because I was once out there with them, or I once saw this, or this is a time that this is what inspired this song. You know what I mean? Like, I can't lie and say what inspired this poem if you read it and it's vivid and it's like, dang, what inspired that? Oh, I was just bored. You know what I mean? Like, you was bored, so that's gonna take away from the audience trusting you as the artist that's taking them on a journey, thinking that, wow, this person know exactly how I feel, and then you give an explanation like, I was bored. I'm just trying to write a poem. I just wanted to try something new. But it's like, nah, what inspired that? Man, I was actually in that situation. And this is how I dealt with it. This is how I got through it. And I feel like when you share that, sometimes it is cringe-worthy, but it's like, for you. But it's freeing at the same time to just let it go and put it out there. And I feel like when you go back and watch it, you're only going to critique yourself. But when you put it out there and it's like, I went through it, I said it, it's done. Someone else watched it, they appreciated it. I don't have to. It's out. You
don't have to look at it again.
It's not mine no more.
Exactly.
It belongs to the public,
the
world.
Yeah.
Feel me? It's not mine.
Would you be able to perform that again? The stuff you did on Gold Beams?
Yeah.
So you're still there. Like you said, you don't remember what you said, but like, it could still come out the same way.
It is still.
That's crazy to me. Like
It'd probably be something even more like now that, because I was nervous, because it was like, you know what I mean, just do it. So I was like getting warmed up. So now that but after doing that, I feel even more confident and more comfortable in my own skin and being on camera and doing this type of setup to where it's like the songs still have the same truth in it. So if someone was to ask like, man, what inspired you to write that song about that? And it's like, I'm high sitting outside of Richmond chilling. And it's like, oh man, what inspired that, man? You feel me? Boom, I'm there. You feel me? I'm back there emotionally. The image is played in my mind to where it's like I can tell you what I see and what emotions brought up. So I definitely feel like I could tap back into that.
That when you're keeping it honest, it's easy to remember like where that came from. You know, like I can think back to some stuff. Like I sometimes would try to force a joke, and let me write a joke about this, and I couldn't remember the joke when I'm gonna do it live because it's not something that I'm pulling out of somewhere on. Like it's not an honest thing. Like it's not, whether it's an experience or, you know, and when it's not like an honest thing. You know, it's people who are liars can't remember the lie.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel with, like, I don't believe in this. I'm saying this because I think they'll like it.
Right.
And that's never the way you want to go. I think this is funny. I'm going to say it. But when I think they're going to like it, I fall apart on stage. And I think that's kind of where, you know, where you're drawing from somewhere real, it'll last longer for them. Like, you know, it is theirs now. And it's more that's how I feel about your book, man. Did it take as long to write this one as it did to write No Freedom?
It took the same amount of time.
Really?
Yeah,
because I know No Freedom was a collection of poems when you were younger, right?
It was poems that I've written. The first poem in the book of No Freedom is a poem that I wrote when I was 17 years old in summer school. So I was like, all right, I'm putting that up in there because that's like the beginning.
Right.
And throughout are poems that I may have written throughout the years, and some I've just written just to put in the collection so that way it feels fresh to me.
Yeah.
So it was like, but it was still a story from, all right, boom, this is my second or first poem I ever written up until now. And through each poem, it builds upon a story.
Yeah.
In this second book, Closed Caskets, this was, I wrote my first poem in July, this past summer in July. And then I wrote my last poem in like December 19th or 23rd. It was between that period because that was like the deadline of like, all right, you got to get this in so it can be edited. And then hopefully you can have it out by February 21st. Yeah. So I wrote my first poem in July. And every poem up in there is new, except for the B poem because I've added on to it since I put it in the first book.
Yeah.
And then I just put that in there for another marker of, if you read my first book, No Freedom, you may remember this B poem, but if not, and you picking up this book for the first time, then this is the starting point that you see this. So it's like that progression. So
essentially, for the listeners, I highly recommend you read No Freedom.
Oh yeah.
Before you get to this one, just so you can see the like it leads to the other one.
Yes.
Right. It's like No Freedom. For, you know what I mean? For those who don't know or haven't read, No Freedom, spelled KNOW, freedom, one word, No Freedom, and it's pretty much just talking about you can't get to a place of peace until you deal with the scars and the wounds that you have accumulated over your lifetime.
Yeah.
Right. And in order to do that, in my second books, I'm like, you gotta close caskets. So my second book is called Closed Caskets. You know, and it's like the first book is like, I'm trying to know freedom. I'm trying to get to this place of peace, of harmony, of like just being oneness with the Most High and everything around me. But it's hard when you're dealing with these skeletons. So you gotta close caskets, bro, in order to get back to this place. And so it's like, No Freedom is like general. This is what I see around me, some personal, but mostly general.
Yeah.
Closed Caskets is like some general, very specific to
you,
to me. And I feel like on paper, this is the first time that I've put my personal, like, childhood, my parents or my siblings or my grandfather, like me sitting with my grandfather in a convalescent home the last days of his life and watching him be kind of like this to being a little slow to being sluggish to his eyes is barely open, and when he speak, it's a faint whisper. And then the next couple of days, like, I gotta go see my papa, and then get the call that he's no longer here. You feel me? But it's like to know I've spent some of the last days of his consciousness. You feel me? I watched him. So writing that story of sitting in a convalescent home and watching this person, you know, just pass away as people walk in the hallways and they're dealing with what they're dealing with. Yeah. And then you start reminiscing like, dang, I remember when we was younger. I remember this. I wish I would have been a better grandson. I wish, you know what I mean? So it's more personal instead of just like, you know.
It's like the Godfather 1, you see the upbringing of the man, and then Godfather 2, you see his history. Yeah. That's
definitely.
Yeah, no. I remember you mentioned that when we met up. This is more, you know, because a lot of the things that you've had, like the documentary, and they touch on Richmond and you, and then you, like you said, this is more of just what's inside your head and your history.
Yeah.
And I think that's like you dissect yourself, you know, to show what.
That's exactly what my approach was.
Yeah.
To how can you know freedom unless you confront certain times in your life and allow to really understand it? Like, what happened? What did or didn't happen? What do you perceive happened? Yeah. What are some thoughts and questions that you just haven't kind of like got over? Okay, address that, put it out there, and then move forward. And it was just kind of like showing people that process of this is how introspection. Go back to them times when you said these things when you was a kid to your sibling and you thought it was jokes, but then you get older and now that you're more aware, now that everybody is, you know, politically correct, and then think back on if this is not okay now, but we've been doing it for 20 years and 15, just to think about the long time effects that them little black jokes that we was, you acting black, you booty scratcher and all of that, and we laughing. But now I've come to the point where it's like, it was a point, I was gonna write a poem about the time that this girl who I thought was very, very attractive called me black, but the way she said it had that poison in it.
Negative connotation to it.
I wanted to hurt her. Like, I wanted to hurt her. I was 15 at Richmond High, and it made me so angry.
What ethnicity was she?
She was black.
She was also black. But you just felt that energy.
But the way she said it was like, your black ass.
Oh, yeah.
It was like,
oh, no.
Yeah,
that stung.
Yeah.
Woo, that stung. And then I asked myself, like, why did that sting so bad?
Yeah.
Why did that hurt you so bad?
It's a shame when that something that should be looked at as, you know, as noble as a standing ebony tree trunk and sturdy gets brought down to mud just by tone and added words, you know.
That stung.
That man, I listened to this comedian. He's Nigerian American, Godfrey. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yeah.
He talked about that where it used to bother him that women would tell him, "You're cute for a black guy." Like, oh, you're African. You're I didn't know because you're so cute. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean? You know, like, and yeah, I mean, just like we talked about with Gabe earlier about the Mexican girl called him a paisa.
Oh yeah.
Of, you know, and it's like
she was like super drunk.
Why does that hurt? You know? What? I mean, if you start to think about why that hurts and why she used that as something to offend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did I know that hurted?
Yeah.
Just think about, like, I start thinking about the generations. My auntie told me this story when I be talking to my aunties or uncles, whoever. It was like, back in the day, my dad, his name is Donald. In the streets, they call him Spunk. Some people call him Cool Daddy, which is another character that I wrote about in the book.
Yeah.
They said if you used to call my dad black, that'll get him mad, and he'll beat you up. He'll beat you up. So this was back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. He got a son that looked just like him, which is my older brother. They used to call him black. He'd get mad and beat you up. Boy, girl, didn't matter. You call him black, he was getting you.
Yeah.
He was born in the 80s. I was born in the 90s, and this is 2015, and the girl called me black, and I'm ready to beat her up. I've never heard these other two stories. Where did I learn that was supposed to be
An insult.
That was, I felt like you calling me the B word, but worse. That was just like, what? And I start asking myself, like, man, why you ashamed of that? That's who you is, right? Why you ashamed of that? Embrace that. Yeah. And I feel like one of them jerks. That's when the seed, poop, I'm gonna embrace that. Matter of fact, my name is Don Black. You feel me?
There you go.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Yeah.
I embraced it, man. My name Don Black. You feel me? Yeah, woo woo. Started embracing everything about it, and then my self-esteem started to boost once I started getting the history of this is what they called y'all. This is how y'all was treated, but this is what your foremothers and forefathers did to overcome that, and this is the culture, and this is the beauty, this is the power. I embraced it. So what first was poison, still got that. It's still contaminated because who we are truly is not black. You feel me? We don't know who we are.
Yeah.
But we embrace the experience.
Yeah.
And we just call that black. So, you feel me? So I've also been on that journey too to discover, man, who am I? And who do I belong to? What's my name? You feel me?
It kind of reminds me of a scene from Game of Thrones, like season 1, and also seen in the book too, in the first book. There's a character who's like a dwarf, right, from a noble house, but he's despised and looked down upon both figuratively and literally because he's got dwarfism, and he's kind of the embarrassment of the family. And he's talking to another member of a noble house who's like the illegitimate son of a noble. He's like the bastard son of Ned Stark, and he says, to paraphrase, because I don't remember how the quote went, he was like, speaking from the perspective of a dwarf, like, don't ever forget that you're a bastard, because the world won't, but wear it like armor, and that way no one could ever hurt you with that. So basically, say, be proud of it, and someone calling you a bastard, be like, all right, whatever, that's what I am, but I love myself. That was the point of that line. And I'm a big believer in, like, no matter what you're born into or who you are, you gotta love you. I'm black. I love being black. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a curse or a deficit. It's who I am.
That's what Dick Gregory, you're familiar with Dick Gregory, the comedian. He had this thing he said where once you understand who you are, it doesn't matter what the fuck they say about you.
Yeah.
And kind of like what you did with this book, you're dissecting who you are to every level, as even like what people in the past said about you and how you felt about it. That's a deep level of self-awareness that some people won't ever even think about in their lifetime. And that's you essentially like are evolving the way you think about yourself and your history with all these things you're doing. And it's an honor to hear it, because it's stuff that people in their whole lifetimes won't ever try to understand. A lot of people go their whole life without trying to understand themselves.
They're just going.
Yeah. I don't want to keep you up too late. We've been going over an hour.
For real?
What?
It's and
we ain't get started. Ask me some juicy questions so we can, you know what I mean?
Oh, dang! All right,
man, come on, man.
Has it really been over
philosophizing? We ain't even getting nothing out there yet.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
It
doesn't feel like an hour.
It didn't feel like an hour. I
thought we were like 15 minutes in. I'm like, man.
No, yeah.
Okay.
But I like, man.
Ask me anything, man.
For real. Oh. All right.
Ooh, all right.
Where can I go with this? Okay.
Yeah,
So, all right, I'm going to ask you the basic news journalist default question. What are you working on now?
What am I working on now? Right now, I'm just really promoting this book. You feel me? Closed Caskets. It's not available on Amazon just yet. It's going to be soon.
You can get it from you directly.
Yeah, but you can get it from me directly, and you can go to 4113 McDonald Avenue, Richmond, California, at Naturally Urged. I dropped off some books there, but right now I'm just doing the hand by hand, you know, donating, you know, getting it out there to the people, and just trying to see how far I can push that just independently. You feel me? Just like, dang, okay, I wrote it, put it out there. Okay, the copies is moving. I want to create some visuals for it. You know what I mean? I want to create a show for it. You know what I mean? Just a performance. I want to create like an album for it. I want to create, you know what I mean? Just some visuals and some further content. I don't want to give too much out because I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? I just put it like this. It's some stories that did not make the book. Yeah. Because I was just trying to test it out first. To be like, all right, this is the first time you speaking on stuff like this. Let's put this one out first and see how this go. And then the next one is gonna be like, the follow up is gonna be, man, I'm coming out swinging. It's like I'm not, you know what I mean? It's just like, so I just want to
juicy stuff.
Yeah, it's like we gonna get to it. I feel like, you know what I mean? It's time to do that. So. Yeah, so what I'm working on right now is just trying to see how I can expand this book and the content in this book and how I can be challenged in that process, and then what comes from that. Man, but I do have some plays in mind that I want to write too. I got a couple of short plays that I want to write, and it's going to be fun.
Are we talking 3 acts or less than 3 acts?
We're talking about 3 acts.
Okay. I only ask because you're like, they're short. I'm like, how short?
I got something that I've been curious about. We touched on it a little bit last time. I was kind of holding back on asking about it, but since the documentary came out and you've been very active in the community, you touch on the rivalry between the 2 parts of Richmond. Mm-hmm. You know, have you seen kind of because of what you did there, kind of like a ceasefire between the 2 sides?
I like to say yes and no, because I feel like
I don't know if I wanted to ask that.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the questions that people always ask after that film when they talk to me. Have you noticed a change in Richmond because of the film?
And specifically in that, you know,
I say yes and no. I say the awareness of just like, dang, somebody from our city, from our neighborhood, from our family, from our tribe documented our experience to the level where it's like it was real, but it was digestible enough for the outside to watch, understand it, and then see the beauty of what we can do to come out of it. I feel like just that gave people like a standard or a hope of like, dang, look, I don't have to just rap, or I don't have to just hustle. I don't have to just do this. This brother just wrote a play about poetry and made a film at the same time. He wrote, you know what I mean? And then put it up on Netflix for the world to watch it.
About our little city.
About our little city, about the little things that we out here really, I was finna go slide right now until I was watching this film. Yeah. Just think about what a person could be doing in the hood and they're watching this documentary at this moment. Ain't no telling what impact that could have had on somebody's life, at least for that moment, that night. You feel me? To watch that film and be like, and to just talk about it amongst themselves. Like, man, how y'all feel about this shit? Man, what you think? They talking about it. So I will, that's why I say yes and no, because it's still, you know, some people's like, if I see a person right now, I'm not thinking about Romeo is bleeding. Somebody finna be bleeding for real, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's gonna be, you feel me?
Where you from, Central or North?
You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's been a lot of people in the penitentiary, high schools, and just on the street that's been like, we watched that and that was dope. That was big. You feel me? That had me thinking different. And it's probably a bunch of people who I've never met, probably will never meet, watch that film and change their trajectory. and is now doing more for the community to pull other people into a particular position. You feel me? So
I was inspired by that, man, because I saw that before I even started doing the comedy shows in Richmond. It was like, there's a lot going on that we could talk about other than, you know, and add to what you are adding to, you know, the beautiful part of it. And there's a lot, man. You were part of that.
And boom, the voice party. You feel me?
You inspire this
Donte.
in a way, dude.
And it's a bunch of other people who are inspired off of, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That opportunity, somebody else probably, man, I want to go do this, and you'll never know. You just will never know. So that's why I say, like, I would want to say, like, I ain't put in all of that work and sacrifice in 2012 to 13 for the film to come out 2015 to 2017 up until 2021 to just say, like, nah or yes. But I know it's both. I know it's almost 10 years. You can't tell me that what's been happening in my life and the contribution ain't, you feel me, changed a few things around, at least with one person. If you can stop one person from being an active shooter, you don't know how you saved one life just by that. Even if
that's enough.
them to say, you know what, I'm not finna do this no more. You feel me? Instead of going out, I'm finna watch this movie. I'm finna get some history. I'm finna get some knowledge of self. I'm finna exercise and eat different. I'm finna, whatever it is, you feel me? Like, I'm finna write me a book. I'm finna, you know what I mean? I'm finna start a podcast or whatever. And it's like, all of this feed each other, you feel me? Seeing y'all do this inspired me to be like, ah, man, that's dope. Look at them grow. Dang, what can I do to contribute to the growth in the you feel me, the economy of artists in our small but mighty community, you feel me?
And we appreciate it, man.
No, we really do.
Because, like I said, man, seeing someone I sat next to 6th grade for a whole year, Mr. Monique's class.
Man, it was spunky in there.
Yeah. And I remember hearing you rap and like, oh, he's good, you know? And then seeing you, what you were doing, it's something, you know, of course, I have my favorite, like, musicians, comedians, and seeing them on TV, it's great. But there's something about seeing your peer do it. It's similar, the feeling I had, but in the total opposite way, as it was when I saw my peers in Caskets. They're like, that could be me, hey, but this could be me too. And that's what I think you do for us, because we think we see more of the, that could be me, casket drop. And that could be me. We were in the same class, 6th grade, you know, and I'm also, you know, like we just mentioned, man, you touched on stuff in yourself and your history that, like, people will never live through, experience, you know? So from the Voice Party and myself especially, I gotta say thank you for the inspiration. That's like one of the biggest things I wanted to do with having you on. Thank you for the inspiration, because that shit, that's some good shit, man.
Yes, thank you for, like, you know, being one of the, for me personally, being one of the many inspirations that keep me going, sir. Like, knowing that somebody like you exists. I've always been a creative person. I've always, you know, had like my own path. But I think that even people who are already on a track to work in the community or to better themselves still need, like, little reminders from different sources that, hey, keep going. You know what I mean? This is possible. Keep going. Look at what this person, keep going, you know? So you're not just a light in the tunnel for people who didn't realize there was light. You're also a light in the tunnel that could inspire somebody who was already heading in that direction to just keep on going in that
Just
direction.
keep going. That's what it's about, man.
Yeah, man. There's like so much I could get into detail about this, because, like, I'm glad you touched on some of this other stuff, and, like, we had talked about this last time. What's the future of Romeo's Bleeding looking like now? We talked about last time that you wanted to do a feature. Is there any possibility of that? You can't share. It's cool.
As far as the documentary, I'm gonna just say this. I want to do
Exclusive. No, I'm saying.
I want to do a deeper.
Okay.
I feel like Romeo captured. This is what's going on in the city. If you've never heard of Richmond, this is Richmond. These are the sides. This is what's going on. This is the person that's in the middle of this. This is what he's trying to do with this collective of people to change that.
Yeah.
And they're using a classic tale. Let's see how it ends. That's what that was. I feel like the film that I would want to do is to talk about the grieving process of when you are in this environment. What is the process to get to that place where you know freedom? And I feel like that film don't really touch on that. It's like, boom, this person was here, now he's gone. This person was here, now he's gone. Now he's gone. Now he's gone. Here's this climax to the play. Boom, the play. It was beautiful, sold out. And then you left with that. Now people have questions like, what? Hold on, what? How is Richmond? What is? And I feel like what I would want to do is go in, and that's what Closed Caskets kind of is. It's like take you to some of these people who I knew personally, who I talked to. Last moments that I had with them, what inspired me. It wouldn't have been no Romeo is bleeding if it wasn't for Lil Irv.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it wasn't for my cousin Lil Irv talking to me and talking to him, and it wouldn't have been that. Feel me? If it wasn't for JJ standing on the corner, he's in the book. You feel me? An OG from the neighborhood. If it wasn't for him seeing me and being like, man, you got what it take to possibly save some lives, little homie. Man, keep doing what you doing, bro. We done did everything it is to do in these streets. You might as well go do something different. Do something else. I was 17 going on 18, finna graduate high school, planning to go to the streets and get it and crank it up.
Yeah.
It was him. So when people be like, man, see what I am now, I'll be like, man, look at them people on the street. Cause them the ones you walk past is the ones that inspire me to do this. You feel me? It's them last conversations that I remember these people for that I put in Closed Caskets. And I feel like if I was to do a film of a follow-up to Romeo, it'd be kind of like going deeper into the community and the people. And like, what is the grieving process? How do you cope with that? You feel me? We everybody knows somebody that got shot or somebody that's shooting, but do we talk about the long-lasting effects of when you kill somebody?
The aftermath.
Yeah. What does that do to the person that just killed somebody?
Yeah.
What type of dreams do they have? You feel me? How do they move different? How do they value time? The person that got shot, what is the healing process? Because my partner got shot. I was with him.
You
feel me?
Anxiety, man. The anxiety that you don't hear about when you survive shit. You see, I'm trying to show you. Like,
yeah, I see you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. We had another guest on here like a while ago, and we were talking about someone they knew who had gotten killed in like a crossfire situation. There was like I guess the shooter was aiming for somebody, and then they decided to kill a couple of other people because they were witnesses or something.
Yeah.
And I was very much like, yeah, that person is a scumbag, and then they even said that there was some parties were thinking about coming after this guy for killing these innocent high school kids, crossfire or not, witnesses or not. But then a year later or something like that, the dude popped up and he was like a schizophrenic after that.
Yeah.
Like the killer went crazy, just walking around talking to himself. So it's something that you don't really think about.
Guilt, man.
Is sometimes the shooter ends up being a victim of his own actions in a way. You know what I mean? Like this idea that this person could have nightmares and this person could actually be driven insane from the terrible thing that he did. You know, so many people are like, yo, we want blood. But, you know, what are the effects?
It's a line or a scripture in the Bible, probably a proverb too, but it's like the worker is the first partaker of their fruit.
Yeah.
It's like whatever it is that you do or say, you've done it to it has to come from your body first. So when you do something, it's like you are affected by that. Period. You are affected. How you deal with that then leads to either you digging yourself in a deeper hole or you come out of that quick. Like, oh, snap, I did that. I never want to go to that again. Because I done, that ain't. And some people, it's like, boom, you get caught up in the rush, or you get caught up in the you get paranoid. Now you need substance abuse. You know what I mean? It's turned into so many different things, and it's like that's the type of stuff that I would want to. If I was to do a follow up to Romeo, it'd be like, I want to go into the healing process. Like what? Because we need to heal. You feel me? It's things that. Now think about what we going through as youngsters. You feel me? Like my brother, anxiety. It's our parents. They wasn't writing poetry. They didn't have podcasts to go to the media and stuff and talk about these types of things. They had to deal with it.
Yep.
Ain't nobody can
to.
afford a therapist if you're working class. You know what I mean? Like, and let's be real, in the black community, even if you could afford it, there's a stigma there. You know what I mean? What, you gonna go talk to somebody? What you gonna go talk to somebody for? You know?
They just dealt with it. So another reason why it's like I do this for the elders. It's like, man, y'all had to go through so much, and then some of y'all passed some of that on to us.
And they didn't know what they didn't understand it.
And it was some of that is y'all fault, and some of that wasn't y'all fault. You feel me? But at the same time, it's like me realizing like you gotta heal too.
Yep.
And I be doing that just to show my pops or my moms or my relatives like, hey man, you could just tell your story. Yeah, you could rap. Rapping is cool, but just imagine your book can go anywhere as well. In places that just rap sometimes limit you. In a sense of like the stigma of you are a rapper. It comes with, you don't hear about authors just getting shot at.
That's true.
At readings.
That's true.
Yeah.
What poetry event just got shot up and people was fighting and set tripping? That's why I gravitated towards poetry when I was 18, 19. Like, if I try to go to a club and rap, it's like 30 rappers in the audience, and then it's 10 on the stage, all talking about the same thing, and it's gonna get shot up before. But if I go to a poetry event,
You could open up.
you can open up. Yeah. It's friendly. It's kind. People want to donate, and you got a book.
Poets are not trying to shoot you because out of jealousy or some weird hate.
You feel me?
You know, I mean, the only thing I could think of when it comes to writing and violence was like, what's the name of that famous writer who lived in Cuba for a minute?
Hemingway.
Hemingway, right? Hemingway was an adventurous. He came off like a dude that would fist fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but he's probably like the only one I could think of. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of them that are like that.
They're like that, yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of the names right now, but yeah.
But yeah, they're out there.
Yeah.
But he's the first one that comes to mind. But yeah, no, but in the modern day and age, it's very rare. Like, you don't think about Stephen King going off to go busting caps in somebody. Dark as he is in his writings, you know what I mean? Like,
Or the environment that come to see you.
Right.
And that's why I just be trying to encourage, you know what I mean, my loved ones is like, yeah, man, you could rap. That's cool, rap. You feel me? But have something, say something.
Yeah.
That give us the healing process, give us the effects, then turn that into a book. If you can write a rap, bro, you can write a book.
Because there's a lot of media that doesn't allow you to heal.
That's true.
You know, a lot of entertainment.
Yeah.
It doesn't heal. I mean, and you know, why contribute to that?
I mean, I would say,
You know?
I would say as an MC that does lean more toward the socio-political side, and my leanings, my favorites, like I look to like Mos Def and Common, Talib Kweli, Lupe Fiasco. Those are guys that definitely embrace like, if they weren't rapping, they would be doing, you know, in my opinion, they would be doing slam poetry. They just so happened to fall into rap, you know what I mean? It's just what they were doing. But you know, even there, like, who knows what kind of, like, a friend and I were talking, and it was like, yeah, Common goes up there with the sweater vests and, like, the newsboy caps, and he has everything to say about peace and love, but that dude probably has, like, an army of people to keep him safe, you know, especially when he was first coming up in the rough 90s.
Slap the taste out your mouth, too, if you feel me, but it's one of those, like...
You know, and I'm not digging at Common and calling him soft, I'm just saying, like, for a guy to get up there and talk about actual love and healing the way he does, To be a rap artist, you probably also have to, when he's off stage, like you said,
defend yourself, because people, you out there, people think you a certain type of way, and it's like, nah, it's not that.
Yeah.
Just because I got love for my people don't mean that you finna just come and push up on me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I still grew up in Chicago, or I still grew up.
Get it twisted.
You feel me? I still, before I was conscious about who I am and the creator and all of that, I was playing at the park with the rest of the boys.
And it's natural to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you feel me? And I feel like, and that's another thing that I really loved about poetry, is just seeing, like, you hear about poetry, like, that's soft. You feel me? We rap. Then it's like, nah, it's some men who was like, I done been to the pen. I done killed 17 people. You feel me? And I found poetry. Seeing documentaries, and it's like, dang, bro, it's hardened criminals up in there writing poetry.
Yep.
You feel me? They making dove birds out of soap. And it's like, on a block, if you was trying to make doves, birds, and cats and little... On the block, people will laugh at you. Yeah. You go to the pen and you looking at 25 with an elbow. Now all of a sudden you an artist. You painting and stuff.
You have
know
time to work on your kung fu.
Yeah, you taking toothpicks and making people out of them.
Yep.
Now you creative. You feel me? And it's like, what if you would have tapped into that before you got involved into the dumb stuff? And that be what inspired me. Is like, how can I learn from y'all mistakes? I don't want to go to prison and be, best-selling author. I'm trying to do that on the street. Why wait until I go to prison and then be like, you know what? I write poetry. It's too late now. I'm facing an attempted. You feel me? It's too late.
And like I said, man, I'm glad you're doing it now, because we need it more than ever.
Yeah,
we really do.
Donte, man, I want to thank you for coming by, bro. Where can like our listeners find your Instagram, and where can they buy your book, like you said? Yeah.
Man, my Instagram is Don Black. DonBlak. Don Black. You can hit me on Instagram.
I'm glad you explained that now. The Don Black. You're embracing it. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. So you can hit me on Instagram, DM for the book. The book is $20. You can go to 41st in McDonald, Richmond, California. That's 4113 McDonald Avenue, Richmond, California. I naturally urge you can pick up a book there. It should be available on Amazon within a couple of days. Go on Amazon. And
No Freedom's available on Amazon.
No Freedom is available on Amazon, and you can type me up in the YouTube, whether Donte Clark, Don Black, and I'll pop up. And if you see me in the street, holla. And if not, I still got love for you.
Man. Like I said, man, I appreciate you being available to us still.
For sure.
I mean, I know that may sound crazy, but I didn't think it would be possible. Like, oh man, when I did the interview last time.
Oh yeah, when you were talking about the show and Rosario Dawson producing it, everything.
We were like,
we're never gonna get back on the show again.
And I hate thinking that way, but it's coming from, like, I just see you doing big things, and like, he's probably gonna never see him again. He's gonna be living in this Hollywood mansion eventually, and but
I'm gonna tell you like this: the way my heart is set up, even if I was hanging with Denzel the next day, if I had the opportunity to be here, I'd do it. And be like, boom, I'm finna fly out. Me and Denzel finna have a meeting. We got this movie going on. I'm writing a movie for him, and he's gonna direct it. You know what I mean? I still, boom, you hit me, oh, it's good. If I can physically be there, I'm gonna be there. You know what I'm saying?
And when we're on TV, we wanna have you on. When we're on national radio, we wanna have you on.
Oh, yes.
For sure.
100.
100. And
for sure.
Yeah, I just, man, I hope you keep doing what you're doing, which obviously I know that's not going to stop anytime soon, and would like to have you back.
For sure. Anytime, man. For sure, man. All praise to the Most High, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's all good.
You said a lot of stuff today that has got me thinking about things in my life, and obviously I'm kind of glad it happened. I'm getting a slight anxiety attack. I've been kind of keeping it together, and it's got me thinking, why do I feel this way? Which, I got to analyze that about myself, because I've been dealing with this my whole life. And I know certain things that have brought it up. Some of it's my parents. Some of it's, seeing people die in front of me. Some of it's, getting shot at. Being in situations where I saw stuff that I wish I never saw. And, like, you got me thinking a lot about stuff, man. So this has been a gift. Yeah.
Man, bro.
I'm gonna tear up. Yeah. I wish you like I used to wish people success. I just wish you peace.
Man.
And same for these guys. But thanks again for coming by, man.
I wish you peace as well and success.
And success. That's been the Voice Party, man. We're out.